Hello guys, welcome to Motorasium. Few days ago there was the news that Volkswagen has decided to sell Bugatti to the Croatian startup called Rimac. Well, I read the terms of the agreement and frankly speaking I think that many newspapers didn't report exactly what's happened, and I don't think that we can call this an acquisition in this term, but was a more complicated agreement. In this video we try to understand what's happened to Bugatti and if it's true that Bugatti has been sold to Rimac or happened something different. Well, before doing this we have to present the story of Bugatti and Rimac. Volkswagen bought Bugatti in 1998 and in the same year they bought also Lamborghini and Bentley. So they create a luxury pole inside the Volkswagen Group. In this way there was Bentley for a luxury car, more comfortable one. Then they have Lamborghini for luxury car but more sportier, and Bugatti there was the over the top, let me say, the most exclusive brand inside the Volkswagen Group. The first car that has been released by Bugatti under the ownership of Volkswagen was the Veyron in 2005, so 7 years later. And the Veyron is a car that probably all of you knows because it's a kind of milestone inside the sports car business. And the first car the fastest car in the world with more than 1000 horsepower, more than 400 kilometers per hour, 16 cylinders, so something that even today, 15 years later, is very impressive. The Veyron has been on the market for around 10 years, and in 2016 they present the Chiron. This is the evolution of the Veyron, but it's a completely new model, and these are the two models that has been made by Bugatti under the ownership of Volkswagen. Of course, there are a lot of special versions, etc., etc., but basically the two models, there are only two models, the Veyron and the Chiron. About the Rimac. The Rimac is a Croatian startup that has been founded in 2009 by mate Rimac, that at that time was only 21 years old. Well, the startup has been very successful and they raised around 200 million of euros during these years. I mean, not all together, but in 10 years around 200 million of euros raised from investors. So the company in this moment, the Rimac, have two areas of business. The most important one is making components for a sports car made by other brands. So basically they are creating and selling components to other car manufacturers. And the second area of business, that is the most famous of course, they create a sports car with the brand Rimac. Probably if you check on YouTube, probably you already knows that there are the Rimac Nevera, especially in the last video that we see online, that is very impressive in terms of performance. I think is the fastest and the best performance car with an electric engine. And if you didn't do it, you have to check online the videos about the Rimac Nevera because it's worth seeing how impressive is that car. And by the way, frankly speaking, I think also it's very nice to see it. You know that sometimes very extreme cars have a look that is, I don't know, not exactly exciting, but this one in my opinion is extremely nice. Well, going back, what is the terms of the agreement between Volkswagen and Rimac? The agreement is a joint venture, that is a kind of agreement between companies that is very common, that is made very frequently in the last years, and is this kind of agreement. Basically you have the two companies, so Volkswagen and Rimac, they decide to create a third company and in which they put some asset of the company. So basically they create this third company that is called Rimac Bugatti or Bugatti Rimac. I don't know what exactly is the real name. Volkswagen put inside the Bugatti, and Rimac put inside the division of Rimac that made electric sports car. So the idea is to create these third companies, that the scope of these companies to make hypercar with electric engine. So in the future we will see two kind of cars, one with the brand Bugatti with a more classic line, and the one made with the brand Rimac with a more sports line. Both will share the same platform, of course, because this is the reason of agreement, sharing platforms. And the new company called Bugatti Rimac is owned by 45% by Volkswagen and 55% by Rimac. That is one of the reasons why people say Rimac bought Bugatti, because at the majority of the stake of this new company, but actually, as you can see, is not an acquisition, because they created this company without any spend of money by Rimac or by Volkswagen. They simply create a third company and they put inside some asset together, and they divide the ownership 45 and 55% between Volkswagen by Porsche and Rimac. Anyway, I think that the main point that people that are passionate about cars think about is why Volkswagen have to do an agreement with a startup that is a big startup, let me say, a very famous and successful startup, but very small if we consider the size of a car company, especially Volkswagen. It is one of the largest in the world. Well, in order to understand that, we have to understand what's happened to Bugatti. Bugatti make very amazing cars, is an amazing brand, but have huge problems. First of all, Bugatti sold very few cars in the last years. I mean, from 2005, you can see in the graphic here, from 2005 till today, they sell an average of 50 cars a year. That is a very limited numbers. In addition, the cars are not linear. I mean, the sales are not linear, but we see that we have a peak of some year with 70 units and some years with just a bit more than 20 cars. Well, that is the first problem, but the main one is another. The point is that Bugatti is not making money, is losing money. Inside the Volkswagen Galaxy, maybe this money are not a huge amount, but Bugatti from the foundation till today was not able to generate enough cash to finance itself. And the point is that are not official data, but people that make analysis of the car market are pretty sure about this. And frankly speaking, I think that is absolutely true. And you have to keep in mind to have a forecast. Some years ago, an analysis said that for every Veyron that Bugatti made with the cost of 1 million euros, Volkswagen and Bugatti was losing 4 million euros. So despite the high price point of a Veyron, Bugatti was losing a lot of money making this car. The point is not about variable cost, the point is about the fixed cost, because when you have a project that is such specific like a Veyron or the Chiron, that you cannot use components of other cars, so you have to create everything from the scratch, you have to research and development all the car from zero without the help of other companies and etc. etc. The point is that the cost of research and development is huge. And so why this is important to understand the current situation? The reason is very simple. We spoke in the video of Ferrari, the one about the electric Ferrari 2025, for the reason why all the car manufacturers within few years have to launch a new electric cars. Bugatti have to launch an electric cars and have to invest a lot of money to create it. And that is a problem in this moment, because Volkswagen is investing in research and development quite a lot of money to create electric cars for the Volkswagen, Audi, Skoda, Porsche, etc. etc. So they are put a lot of money in research and development, and if they want to create also a Bugatti, they have to take some budget from the research and development of other brands to give it to Bugatti. So they have to take off budget from projects that in general have a positive cash flow from a project Bugatti that do not have a positive cash flow. And this is the point why, in my opinion, in Volkswagen do not want to give money to Bugatti, because they need the money to invest in all the main brands that they have. And in order to do that, I think that the point of Volkswagen was, okay, we can keep Bugatti, but we don't want to invest money now to develop a completely new Bugatti with an electric engine. And so here comes the partnership with Rimac, because Rimac already have the components, the platform to make amazing electric cars. In this moment, they say, okay, we make an agreement with Rimac, we create Bugatti with the components by the Rimac. We have, of course, to change the car, but essentially the parts of the engine are the same. And in this way, we can keep the brand Bugatti without spending money to develop a new cars. Okay, and that is amazing from a business point of view. The other advantage is that if Bugatti have to develop an electric car from the scratch, they probably takes, I don't know, maybe 6 years from now. I don't know what they are doing exactly in this moment. but with the help of the Rimac, with the components of Rimac, they already have the cars. Maybe in 3 years they can launch an electric Bugatti within 3 years without waiting for 6 years of research and development. So in my opinion, this kind of agreement is amazing from a business point of view for Bugatti and Volkswagen and for Rimac. Why for Volkswagen? Because they can launch a new Bugatti, an electric Bugatti, without investing in research and development. For Rimac, they have, in my opinion, a bit more advantage than Volkswagen, and the reason is, first, they can access to the sales network of Bugatti. For a startup, it's not easy and fast to develop a sales network. In this moment, they can sell the Rimac with the Bugatti network. Second, they can sell more sports car using the same platform. So as we say, they spend money for research and development to make the Nevera, for example, and they are selling only the Nevera. In this way, they can use the same cost in developing the cars and sell also cars with the name of Bugatti. And you know, probably there are people that do not want to spend 2 million euros, something like this, for a Rimac, but probably you have more people that wants to buy a Bugatti, electric Bugatti, for 2 million euros. So they increase the volumes of the sports car and decrease the fixed cost for research and development for each cars. And the third point, and the most important, is about reputation. Rimac increased its reputation like startup quite a lot thanks to this agreement, because people think Rimac is the owner of Bugatti, and you know, for a startup that is investing a lot in research and development, so it needs funds from external investors. It's important to have funds, not only to have funds, because I'm pretty sure that Rimac can have all the funds that you want in this moment, but the point is how you get the funds, because investors ask you a percentage of your company, and thanks to agreement, the reputation of Rimac increased quite a lot, and I think that it will be easier to gain money from investors in this moment with a very low cost. Well, the video can end here, but there is a last point that is very important to understand the agreement between Volkswagen, Bugatti and Rimac. The point is, who is the owner of Rimac? Because we say before that Rimac was founded by mate Rimac in 2009, but he received a lot of funds from investors. As you know what's happened like a startup, when you receive money from investors, they want a percentage of your company. And in this moment, mate Rimac, the founder, have the 37% of the company. It means that the 63% of the company is in the hands of other investors. The main investors of Rimac is Porsche, that have the 24% of Rimac. So Porsche, as you know, is part of Volkswagen Group. So the point is, they make this kind of agreement, Volkswagen by Porsche and Rimac, to create the third company. The Rimac have the 55% of the new company, but one of the owner, the second main owner of Rimac, is Porsche, so still Volkswagen. Yeah, I know it's quite complicated, because actually it's complicated because they create a structure that is not really simple, let me say, but that is the point. So it's important to consider that Rimac, a part of Rimac that is quite consistent, is already part of Volkswagen Group. To conclude, guys, as I said, this is a win-win situation for Volkswagen and for Rimac. On the other side, it's impossible to judge all the terms of the agreement, because I think that some parts of the agreement are not public, so we don't know exactly all the terms of agreement, and especially because people say probably Volkswagen have to keep more of the share of the new company Rimac Bugatti, like 50-50, or maybe even the majority of the company has to be in the hands of Volkswagen. I mean, for me it's impossible to judge this kind of stuff because we don't have all the information, first, and second, it's a long work to analyze the value and the asset of what each company is bringing in the new joint venture. So guys, the topic was quite long and complicated, because such kind of agreements usually are not easy, and it's quite difficult to explain all such kind of complicated agreements with a camera and not a lot of time to explain everything. So thank you for watching, and if you are interested to such kind of video about car business, classic cars and motorcycle, follow this channel, Motorasium English version, and thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye.